Hey guys, tonight we're not just talking about Napoleon's invasion of Russia. We're living it. You're going to experience a day, a single, ordinary day, in the life of an infantry soldier in Napoleon's Grand Armée, somewhere in Western Russia, November 1812. My name is Jean-Baptiste Mercier. I'm 24 years old. I'm from a small village outside Lyon, and right now I'm part of the largest military disaster in European history. So before we begin, take a moment to like the video and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of immersive history. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is, and especially if you've got connections to military service, or if your father or grandfather served. Those of you who experienced winter warfare or who remember the stories your fathers told about serving in harsh conditions, I'd love to hear how this compares to your experience. Now settle in, get comfortable, and let's step back in time together. Close your eyes if you want. You're about to live a day that someone actually lived 212 years ago. It's not quite dawn yet, but I'm awake. I've been awake, really, for most of the night. When it's this cold, sleep isn't sleep in any meaningful sense. It's more like a series of shallow, shivering dozes interrupted every few minutes by the wind, by someone coughing, by my own body screaming at me that it's freezing. I'm lying on my side in the snow, curled into as tight a ball as I can manage, pressed against two other men for warmth. We don't know each other's names. We never asked. My hands are tucked inside what's left of my greatcoat, fingers curled into fists, trying to keep some circulation going. I can barely feel them. That's not a figure of speech. I genuinely cannot feel my fingertips. Haven't been able to for days now. I wiggle them periodically to make sure they still work, that they haven't frozen solid. So far, they move. That has to be enough. The sky is that particular shade of gray that means dawn is close, but not here yet. I can see maybe 20-30 feet in the dim light. Around me, hundreds, thousands of men are doing exactly what I'm doing. Lying in the snow, trying not to freeze to death before morning. Some aren't moving. Some won't move when the drums beat assembly. Every morning there are fewer of us. I've been a soldier for 6 years now. I joined the Grand Armée in 1806, fought at Jena, at Eylau, at Friedland. I was in Spain for 2 years, which was its own kind of hell. But this is different. This isn't war anymore. This is survival, and we're losing. Let me tell you about my feet. Because in this army, in this place, at this moment, your feet are everything. If your feet go, you're finished. You can't march, which means you fall behind. And if you fall behind, the Cossacks get you. Or you freeze. Either way, you're dead. So I check my feet constantly, obsessively. I've wrapped them in strips torn from a dead man's coat, stuffed straw into my boots, tied everything together with twine I found in an abandoned farmhouse 3 days ago. My boots are splitting at the seams. The left sole is coming away from the upper. I tied it on with more twine. It won't last much longer. I need to move. Lying here isn't keeping me warm. It's just delaying the inevitable moment when I have to face the cold. I push myself up to sitting, every muscle screaming in protest. My back is a solid mass of pain. When you spend months marching 20, 30 miles a day, then sleeping on frozen ground, your body starts breaking down in ways you didn't know were possible. I'm 24 years old, but I feel 60. The man to my left doesn't move when I shift away from him. I reach over and shake his shoulder. Nothing. I shake harder. Still nothing. I lean closer and look at his face in the growing light. His eyes are half open, staring at nothing. His lips are blue. There's frost on his eyebrows. In his beard. He's dead. Froze during the night, probably hours ago. I was sleeping, pressed against a corpse for warmth. I don't feel anything about this. That sounds cold, sounds wrong, but it's the truth. I can't afford to feel anything. 3 months ago, I might have said a prayer for him, might have checked his pockets for letters to send to his family, might have wondered who he was and where he came from. Now, I just check his pockets for anything useful. His haversack has nothing. No food, no powder, nothing. His boots are worse than mine. I take his blanket anyway, even though it's no better than the one I already have. 2 thin blankets are better than one. I don't know his name. I never will. Around me, other men are waking up, going through the same routine. Check your neighbor. If he's alive, good. If he's dead, take his stuff and move on. This is what we've become. This is what Russia has made us. I pick up my musket and check the lock. The flint is still in place. The frizzen moves, though it's stiff with cold. I used the last of my gun oil 2 weeks ago, so now the mechanism is bare metal on metal, grinding and slow. But it still works. Probably. I haven't fired it in days. We have orders to conserve ammunition, which is Army talk for we're running out of everything, including gunpowder. The cartridge box on my belt has maybe 15 rounds left. I started this campaign with 60. Some I fired, most I lost, or traded for food, or used the powder to start fires. I pull myself to my feet, using the musket as a support. My legs don't want to hold me. They're stiff, cold, weak from hunger and exhaustion. I stand there for a moment, swaying slightly, waiting for my body to remember how to function. Around me, the army is coming to life, and I use the word life loosely. We're camped, if you can call it camping, somewhere in western Russia. I don't know exactly where. I stopped keeping track of towns and distances weeks ago. We're heading west, always west, trying to get back to Poland, to Germany, to France, to anywhere that isn't this frozen hell. We left Moscow 5 weeks ago. The city was burning. We set the fires ourselves, or the Russians did, or both. Doesn't matter. Moscow burned, and with it went any hope of wintering there, of surviving until spring. So now we march, and freeze, and die. The Emperor says we're making a strategic withdrawal. That's what the officers tell us when they remember we exist. Strategic withdrawal. What it looks like from where I'm standing is a rout. We're fleeing, running, dying by the thousands every single day. I need water, or what passes for water. I make my way toward the nearest fire, where a few men are melting snow in a dented pot that used to belong to some officer's baggage train. One of them pours some into my tin cup without being asked. It's lukewarm at best, tastes like smoke and metal, but it's wet. I drink it slowly, forcing myself not to gulp it down. My throat is raw from breathing frozen air for weeks. The warm liquid helps a little. Any food? I ask in French. The man by the fire shakes his head. Of course not. We haven't had proper rations in 3 days. Before that, it was 4 days. Before that, I can't remember. Time is measured differently now. Not in days and weeks, but in the spaces between meals, between moments of warmth, between heartbeats. I check my own haversack anyway, even though I know it's empty. Hope springs eternal, or something like that. Some ancient Roman said that, I think. Maybe one of his soldiers said it while freezing to death in Germania. The bag has nothing. A few crumbs that might have been bread once. Some bits of straw. A button that came off my coat. That's it. That's everything I own in the world, besides the clothes on my back and the musket in my hands. 6 years ago, when I joined the army, I had dreams. I was going to see the world, win glory, maybe earn enough to buy some land back home. Now I'd trade every dream I ever had for a piece of black bread and a warm barn to sleep in. The drums start beating. Assembly. Time to form up. Time to march. Time to keep moving west or die trying. I grab my pack, barely weighs anything anymore, and shoulder my musket. Around me, men are doing the same, moving like old men, like invalids. We shuffle toward the forming columns. There used to be drums, bugles, sergeants screaming at us to dress ranks, to stand straight, to look like soldiers of the Grand Armée. Not anymore. Now the sergeants just make sure we're all facing roughly the same direction and start moving. That's close enough. I end up at a column somewhere in the middle of the mass. I don't know which regiment anymore. The regiments don't really exist as separate units now. We're just soldiers. French, German, Polish, Italian, all mixed together, all freezing and starving together. True equality. The revolution would be proud. We start walking. That's all it is now. Walking, not marching. We don't lift our feet, we shuffle them. We don't swing our arms, we let them hang. We don't sing marching songs or joke with each other. We just walk, one foot in front of the other, trying not to fall down, trying not to stop. Because if you stop, you're finished. The road, and I'm being generous calling it a road, is a churned mass of frozen mud, snow, ice, and the detritus of an army in retreat. Dead horses every 100 yards, their bodies already picked clean by the men ahead of us. Broken wagons pushed to the side or just abandoned in place. Personal items scattered everywhere. Coats, shoes, books, letters, everything that seemed important when we were winning, and now means nothing when we're dying. We pass a dead horse that still has some meat on it, and immediately the column breaks apart as men rush to hack off pieces with their knives, with bayonets, with anything sharp. I keep walking. I learned weeks ago that fighting over scraps like that is a good way to get stabbed or trampled. Besides, that horse has been dead for at least a day, probably longer. The meat is frozen solid and probably diseased, although at this point, disease is the least of my worries. If I can eat it before I die of cold or starvation, I'll count that as a win. Those of you who served in Korea might remember what winter in the field was like. The cold that gets in your bones and never leaves. The way your gear freezes solid overnight. The constant threat of frostbite, of exposure, of just sitting down for a moment and never getting up again. If you got stories about enduring that kind of cold, I genuinely appreciate hearing them in the comments. It helps to know that men have survived this kind of thing before, that it's possible to come through the other side. We're abandoning the artillery now. The big guns, the 12-pounders that won us battles at Austerlitz and Friedland, they're being pushed off the road and left in the snow because we don't have horses to pull them anymore. We ate the horses. That's what happens when your supply lines stretch across half a continent and then collapse completely. You eat your horses, then you abandon your guns, then you die. I was at Austerlitz. 7 years ago, December 1805, I was 18 years old, fresh from training, terrified and excited. I remember the fog lifting to reveal the Russian and Austrian armies on the Pratzen Heights. I remember the Emperor riding past our ranks, and how we cheered until our throats were raw. I remember the victory, the feeling that we were unstoppable, that nothing could defeat the Grand Armée. We were young. We were invincible. We were idiots. A crow watches us from a broken wagon. Fat, healthy crow. They're doing well this winter. The crows and the wolves. Plenty of food for them. Nature provides. My stomach cramps. Hunger. I'm so hungry I can barely think straight. It's not the sharp, immediate hunger you feel when you skip a meal. It's deeper than that. Duller. More exhausting. It's the hunger that comes from weeks of starvation, from your body consuming itself to stay alive. I can feel my ribs through my coat. My pants don't fit anymore. I had to tie them with rope to keep them up. My face is all angles and hollows. I saw my reflection in a puddle 2 days ago and barely recognized myself. The sun is up now, sort of. It's more like a pale disk behind thick clouds, providing light but no warmth. The temperature might be 0 degrees Fahrenheit, might be -10, might be -20. I stopped being able to tell the difference. Cold is cold, freezing is freezing. Dead is dead. We've been marching for maybe 2 hours when the first men start falling. Not falling in battle, just falling. Their legs give out, or they stop to rest for a moment, or they simply lose the will to keep moving. Once you're down, you don't get back up. The column flows around you like water around a rock, and you're left behind. What happens then depends on the Cossacks. If they find you quickly, you might die quickly. If not, you freeze. Either way, you're done. A man about 20 paces ahead of me just sits down in the snow. He's young, maybe 19, maybe younger. He just stops, sits down, stares at nothing. 2 other soldiers try to pull him up, shouting at him in German or Polish. I can't tell. He doesn't respond. After a minute, they give up and keep walking. We all keep walking. In an hour, he'll be dead. In 2 hours, he'll be frozen solid. In 3 hours, the crows will find him. This is what war looks like when you're losing. I try not to think about it. Try not to think about anything. Just keep walking. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Don't think about the cold. Don't think about hunger. Don't think about home. Especially, don't think about home. That's how you break. My feet are numb again. I wiggle my toes inside my boots. Feel them move. Still working. Good enough. I've seen men lose toes to frostbite, seen the black flesh, seen the surgeons cut them off with bone saws while the men screamed. I've seen men lose whole feet. If that happens to me, I'm finished. Can't march on stumps, can't outrun Cossacks, can't survive. So I check my feet constantly, and I keep walking, and I pray to a God I'm not sure I believe in anymore that they hold out just a little bit longer. We pass through a village. Or what used to be a village, now it's just burned out shells of houses, collapsed barns, empty wells. The Russians are burning everything as they retreat ahead of us. Or we're burning everything as we retreat past it. Or both. Scorched earth. There's nothing left. No food, no shelter, no help. Just ruins and smoke stains on the snow. Some men break ranks to search the ruins, looking for anything. Food, cloth, wood to burn. They won't find anything. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers have passed through here ahead of us. If there was anything to find, it's long gone. But they look anyway, because hope is the last thing to die. Even after your body gives up, even after your mind accepts that you're finished, hope lingers like smoke. I keep walking. I've learned that stopping to search ruins is a waste of energy I don't have. Better to save it for the march, for putting one foot in front of the other. That's all that matters now. Keep moving. Stay alive. Get through today. Worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. My hands hurt. That's new. For days, they've been numb, which was almost a blessing. But now they hurt, which means the cold is affecting them differently, which probably means something bad is happening. I don't want to look. Don't want to unwrap the cloth and see if my fingers are turning black. What would I do if they were? Nothing. There's nothing to do. So I don't look. I just keep gripping the musket and keep walking. The wind is It comes from the north, cutting across the open steppe with nothing to slow it down. It goes through my coat like the coat isn't there, steals what little warmth my body produces, makes my eyes water, and then freezes the tears on my cheeks. This is why the Russians didn't have to defeat us in battle. They just had to wait. Wait for winter, wait for the cold, wait for the vast emptiness of this country to swallow us whole. And it's working. The sky to the north is getting darker. More snow coming. Perfect. Exactly what we need. More snow, more cold, more reasons to die. The Emperor's luck appears to have run out. Or maybe this is just what happens when you march 600,000 men into Russia with no plan for winter. Turns out, you need plans. You need supplies. You need logistics. You need things other than audacity and genius. Who knew? Besides everyone who tried to tell him this was a bad idea. But what do I know? I'm just an infantryman. I carry a musket and follow orders and freeze to death slowly. The strategic thinking is handled by men much smarter than me. Men with maps and telescopes and imperial eagles on their hats. Men who are probably warm right now, probably have eaten today, probably won't freeze to death in the next 48 hours. Must be nice. An officer rides past on a skeletal horse, heading toward the front of the column. He doesn't look at us. We don't look at him. There's nothing to say anymore. The divide between officers and men, which used to be about rank and privilege and honor, is now just about who gets to ride and who has to walk. The horses are dying as fast as the men, so soon enough, we'll all be equal again. Democracy through disaster. The man next to me speaks for the first time all morning. How far to Smolensk? He asks in French, but with an Italian accent. I shrug. Far, I say. He nods and goes back to walking. That's the extent of our conversation. We don't have energy for more. My lips are cracked and bleeding. I can taste blood when I lick them, which I try not to do because it just makes it worse. My nose is raw, constantly running, the fluid freezing in my mustache. My beard is matted with ice and food scraps and things I'd rather not think about. Hygiene is a memory. We don't wash. We don't shave. We barely piss. There's nothing to piss out. No water in our systems. Our bodies are shutting down, conserving every resource for the single goal of not dying in the next hour. It's around midday when we stop. Not because we've reached somewhere, not because it's time for a meal. We stop because the column ahead of us is stopped. And when that happens, everyone stops. You can't keep marching when there's nowhere to march to. So we stop, and we wait, and we try not to freeze while we wait. I lower myself to the ground carefully, like an old man with bad joints, which isn't far from the truth. The snow is hard-packed here, churned by thousands of feet and hooves. I sit with my back to the wind, pull my knees up to my chest, wrap my arms around them. Every bit of warmth matters. Every small shelter from the wind is precious. I close my eyes and try to rest without falling asleep. Falling asleep means freezing. Rest, but don't sleep. That's the balance. Around me, men are doing the same thing. Some have started fires with wood scavenged from abandoned wagons. I watch them with envy but don't move to join them. The energy required to get up, walk over, and fight for a place near the fire is more than I have. So I sit here and try to conserve what I've got. Someone finally gets a fire going about 30 feet away, and immediately a crowd forms around it. Men push and shove for position, desperate for even a moment's warmth. I watch one man get too close, see his coat catch fire from an ember. He beats it out frantically, leaving a burned hole in the fabric. Now, he's got even less protection from the cold. The fire will be gone in 20 minutes, burned through the small amount of wood they found. Then we'll march again. This is Rest in the Grand Armée, November 1812. I should eat something. I have nothing to eat, but I should eat anyway. My body needs fuel. Without food, The cold wins faster. But there's no food. My haversack is empty. My pockets are empty. I'm empty. So I sit here and try not to think about food, which is like trying not to think about breathing. Impossible. I check my haversack again anyway. Still nothing. I'm like a child, checking the same spot over and over, hoping a toy will magically appear. It won't. There's no food. There hasn't been food. There won't be food unless we find another dead horse or stumble across a miracle. And I stopped believing in miracles around the time we left Moscow to burn. A soldier near me is eating something. I watch him, transfixed. He's chewing slowly, deliberately, trying to make it last. I can't tell what it is. Could be bread, could be leather, could be something worse. I don't care. He's eating, which means he found something, which means maybe there's more somewhere. I want to ask him where he got it. I want to beg for a piece. I want to knock him down and take it. I do none of these things. I just watch and swallow my saliva and try to remember what food tastes like. He catches me staring. For a moment, we make eye contact. He doesn't offer to share. I don't ask. He goes back to eating. I go back to staring at nothing. This is what hunger does. It reduces you to an animal, focused entirely on the next meal, on survival, on nothing else. I used to read books. I used to think about philosophy, about politics, about the future of France and Europe and civilization. Now I think about bread. Just bread. Nothing else matters. The drums beat again. Time to move. Time to stand up, pick up the musket, form the column, start walking. My legs don't want to cooperate. I have to use my musket as a crutch to lever myself upright. My knees crack like dry wood. My back screams in protest. I'm 24 years old. I feel like I'm dying. I probably am. We start walking again. Same as before. Same as always. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Don't think. Just walk. Don't feel. Just walk. Don't hope. Just walk. This is existence now. Not life. Just existence. One foot in front of the other until you can't anymore. The afternoon wears on. The sky stays gray. The wind stays cold. The road stays terrible. More men fall. More men die. More equipment is abandoned. We're shedding weight, shedding people, shedding everything that made us an army. Soon we'll just be a mob of freezing refugees in blue coats, and then we won't even be that. We'll just be corpses in the snow. I see a book lying in the snow and actually feel something. Regret, maybe? Or sorrow? Someone carried that book all the way from France, through Poland, into Russia, maybe even to Moscow and back. They valued it enough to pack it, to protect it, to carry its weight for months. And now it's in the snow, pages dissolving in the ice. Forgotten. That book was someone's hope that they'd have time to read again someday, that things would get better, that life would return to normal. Now it's trash. I keep walking. A shot cracks somewhere to our left, then another, then several more. Ragged and scattered, the column doesn't react much. A few men look that direction. Most don't bother. It's the Cossacks harassing our flanks, picking off stragglers. They've been following us since Moscow, always just out of sight, always waiting for someone to fall behind. They don't attack the main column. They're not stupid. They just wait for easy targets, and we provide plenty. I can see them now. Shapes on the horizon. Horsemen. They're just watching, waiting, patient. They know they don't have to attack. They just have to wait for the cold and hunger and exhaustion to do their work. Then ride in and finish off whoever's left. It's effective. It's terrifying. It's smart. I hate them for it, but I'd do the same in their place. If a foreign army invaded France, burned our cities, and then started retreating through winter, I'd harry them every step of the way too. Can't even blame them, really. Doesn't mean I want to die at their hands, but I understand it. The wind shifts, and I smell smoke. Lots of smoke, something's burning ahead. Could be another village, could be a wagon train, could be anything. We'll find out when we get there. Everything is always ahead. Nothing is ever here. Now. It's always ahead, always later, always somewhere else. It's a wagon, supply wagon, or what used to be one. It's burning fiercely, flames 10 feet high, putting out real heat. Men are gathered around it, as close as they can get without catching fire themselves. Some are warming their hands. Some are trying to cook whatever scraps they have. Some are just standing there, absorbing the heat, knowing it won't last. I want to join them, but the column keeps moving, and stopping means falling behind, and falling behind means death. So I walk past the warmth, past the light, past the one moment of comfort available, and I keep walking into the cold and dark. This is discipline, I suppose. The discipline to keep walking when everything in your body screams to stop. The discipline to pass up warmth because you know the long-term survival requires movement. The discipline to be a soldier even when the army barely exists anymore. Or maybe it's not discipline at all. Maybe it's just stubbornness. Maybe it's just fear. Maybe I'm too stupid to lie down and die with dignity. Hard to say. My eyelashes are freezing together. Every time I blink, they stick slightly, requiring extra effort to open again. The moisture in my eyes keeps trying to freeze. My vision is blurry from the constant tearing and freezing. I'm literally watching my body break down in real time, system by system, piece by piece. First, hunger weakens you. Then, cold damages you. Then, exhaustion cripples you. Then you die. It's a process. I'm somewhere in the middle of it, still walking, but not for much longer. The sun is getting lower. Not that I can see it through the clouds, but the light is changing, getting weaker, grayer. Evening is coming. That means we'll stop soon, make camp if you can call it that, try to survive another night. Each night feels like the last one I'll survive. Each morning I'm surprised to wake up. This is living on borrowed time. Except I don't know who I borrowed it from, or when the debt comes due. The drums beat again. Halt. Make camp. This part of the day is almost worse than marching. At least when you're moving, you're generating some heat. When you stop, the cold settles in like a predator. You feel it in your bones, in your lungs, in your soul. And you know you have to survive an entire night of it before you can start moving again. I find a spot that's slightly less terrible than the alternatives. There's no shelter. There's never shelter. But at least here the ground is relatively level and there are other soldiers nearby for shared warmth. I drop my pack, lower myself to the ground, start the process of preparing for night, which means doing absolutely nothing, because I have nothing to do it with. No tent, no blanket, except the thin ones I'm wearing. No food to cook, no fire to cook it on, just me, the cold, and the slowly approaching night. 3 men I don't know sit down near me. Without speaking, we arrange ourselves back to back, creating a small huddle. It's not friendship. It's not even really cooperation. It's just the animal recognition that more bodies mean more warmth, and more warmth means maybe surviving the night. One of them is shivering uncontrollably. Another is coughing, deep, wet coughs that sound like death rattling around in his lungs. The third is silent and still. We don't introduce ourselves. We probably won't all be alive tomorrow. What's the point of names? Someone has found wood somewhere and started a fire about 50 feet away. I can see the light, the flicker of flames. I can almost feel the warmth from here, though that's probably imagination. Men are gathered around it, crowding close. There must be 30 or 40 of them fighting for space near that little fire. I don't have the energy to join that fight. I stay where I am, huddled with strangers, and try to convince my body that this is acceptable, that we can survive this, that tomorrow is possible. I try to make a fire. I have a piece of flint in my pocket and the steel from my musket lock. I gather what scraps I can find. Some straw from my boots, a piece of cloth, some splinters from a broken wagon board. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold the flint. I strike it against the steel. Sparks. Again. Sparks. Again. The sparks land on the tinder but won't catch. The straw is too cold, too damp. I strike again. And again. And again. Nothing. After 10 minutes, I give up. No fire, not tonight. I put the flint back in my pocket and accept defeat. The temperature is dropping. I can feel it. Feel the air getting colder. Feel my body's core temperature slipping degree by degree. When your body can't generate enough heat to offset what you're losing to the environment, you start dying. It's that simple. The cold isn't just uncomfortable. It's not just painful. It's lethal. And I'm losing the battle. Night falls completely. The darkness is profound, broken only by scattered fires and the occasional torch. I can hear the army around me, coughing, moaning, praying, dying. Thousands of men making the sounds of suffering. It's like being in hell, except hell is supposed to be hot. This is the cold version. Frozen hell. Russian hell. I should try to sleep. My body needs rest. But sleep in this cold is dangerous. You might not wake up, I've seen it happen. Men go to sleep and just don't wake up. They freeze during the night, peacefully, probably don't even feel it. There are worse ways to die, honestly. But I'm not ready for that yet. I still have some fight left, some stubborn refusal to give up. So I sit here, dozing lightly, jerking awake every few minutes, checking that I'm still alive, still breathing, still functioning. I tuck my hands into my armpits, trying to warm them with what little body heat I have left. It barely helps. My core temperature is too low to generate meaningful warmth. I'm just shuffling around the same insufficient heat, trying to delay the inevitable. My feet are completely numb now. I can't feel my toes at all. That's bad. That probably means frostbite. That probably means I'm going to lose toes, maybe the whole foot. But I can't deal with that now. That's a tomorrow problem. Tonight's problem is surviving until tomorrow. The man to my left stops shivering. That's a bad sign. Shivering means your body is still trying to generate heat, still fighting. When you stop shivering, it means your body is giving up, shutting down. I nudge him. He doesn't respond. I nudge harder. Nothing. I lean over and check his face in the dim light from a distant fire. His eyes are open, but not seeing. He's dead. Froze to death sitting right next to me. I was pressed against him for warmth not 10 minutes ago. Now he's a corpse. I check his pockets. Force of habit. He has nothing. A letter, but I can't read it in this light, and I don't care enough to try. Some buttons. A piece of string. Nothing useful. I take his blanket, thin as it is, and add it to my own. 3 blankets now. Still not enough, but better than 2. I don't feel guilty. Guilt is a luxury for people who aren't dying. This is what war really is. Not the battles, not the glory, not the eagles and the drums and the heroic charges. This, cold and hunger and disease, and men freezing to death while sitting upright. This is the truth they don't put in the paintings or the songs. This is what gets left out of the history books. This is what those of you who served already know, but everyone else has to learn. Hours pass. The cold gets worse. The night gets darker. The fires burn down to coals and ash. Men die. I don't die, not yet. I sit here, pressed between strangers, wrapped in stolen blankets, and I survive. That's all. No heroism, no drama. Just survival. Just lasting until dawn. I think about France. Can't help it. I think about my village, about the fields around it in summer, about the warmth and the sun and the food. I think about my mother, about her kitchen, about bread fresh from the oven, and cheese and wine, and all the things that seem like impossible luxuries now. I think about my father telling me that joining the army was a good idea, a way to see the world and make something of myself. I wonder if he still thinks that. I wonder if I'll ever see him again to ask. I lie back and look at the sky. Can't see stars. Too many clouds. Just darkness above, darkness around, darkness everywhere. I used to believe in something. God, maybe. Or France. Or the Emperor. Or Now I don't know what I believe. I believe in surviving today. That's it. That's the extent of my faith. Get through today. Try again tomorrow. Keep doing that until you can't. The man who was coughing earlier has stopped. Either he's asleep or he's dead. I'm too tired to check. If he's dead, he's dead. If he's alive, good for him. Either way, it doesn't change what I have to do, which is survive this night, and then walk tomorrow, and then survive tomorrow night, and on until we reach somewhere that isn't Russia, or until I die trying. Those are the only two options left. The clouds part for a moment, and moonlight falls across the snow. It's beautiful, in a terrible way. The landscape looks peaceful, quiet, almost serene. You could almost forget that thousands of men are dying here, that this beautiful white expanse is a killing field. But then the clouds close again. The darkness returns, and the illusion shatters. There's no peace here, no beauty, just death, dressed in white. I close my eyes and try to sleep. Real sleep, not the dozing half-awareness I've been maintaining. I need actual rest or I won't be able to walk tomorrow. But the cold makes it nearly impossible. Every time I start to drift off, my body jerks awake, alarmed by the dropping temperature, by the threat of freezing. It's like my body knows that sleep equals death and refuses to fully commit. So I lie here in this limbo, not awake enough to think clearly, not asleep enough to rest, just existing in the cold and dark. Somewhere in the distance, someone is singing. French song, something from home. The voice is weak, cracked, but the melody carries across the camp. A few other voices join in, creating a ragged harmony. The song is about home, about love, about things that aren't cold and death. It's absurd singing in these conditions. It's also the most human thing I've heard in weeks. I don't join in. I just listen. And for a moment, I remember that I'm not just a body trying to survive. I'm a person. I had a life before this. I might have a life after this. If I survive. Probably not, but maybe. The singing stops. The night deepens. The cold intensifies. I pull the blankets tighter and curl into a ball and wait for dawn. That's all I can do. Wait and hope and try not to die before morning. The night passes in increments of suffering. Minutes feel like hours. Hours feel like days. I drift in and out of consciousness, never fully asleep, never fully awake. Time becomes elastic, meaningless. All that exists is cold and dark, and the slow struggle to keep breathing, to keep my heart beating, to keep existing. And then, finally, impossibly, the sky begins to lighten. Not much, just the faintest change from black to dark gray. But it's something. It's dawn. I survived another night against all odds, against all logic, against the Russian winter and hunger and exhaustion and everything else trying to kill me. I'm still alive. For another day, at least, I open my eyes fully and assess the damage. I'm alive. My fingers and toes are still numb, but they move when I try. That's good enough. The man to my right is dead, frozen in the night. The man to my left is alive, staring at nothing with the same exhausted expression I probably have. We don't acknowledge each other. There's nothing to say. We both survived. That's all that matters. I stand up, using my musket as support again. Everything hurts. My back, my legs, my feet, my hands, my chest, my head, everything. I'm one massive collection of pain and damage, held together by willpower and stubborn refusal to die. But I'm standing. I'm functional. I can walk. That means today I live. Tomorrow is tomorrow's problem. Around me, the same scene repeats thousands of times. Men wake, check themselves, check their neighbors, take what they need from the dead, and prepare to march again. This is our routine now. This is normal. Wake up, survive the night, take from the dead, start walking. Repeat until you die or escape. Those are the options. The drums beat. Assembly. Form up. Prepare to march. We don't march anywhere specific anymore. We just march west, always west, toward Poland and Germany and home. How far is it? How many more days? I don't know. Nobody knows. We just walk until we get there or until we die. Those are still the only two endings available. I check my musket again. The lock still works. The barrel seems clear. I have 15 cartridges left. Probably won't fire all of them. Probably won't fire any of them. But having them is important. Having the musket is important. It's the difference between being a soldier and being a refugee. Soldiers have some protection, some organization, some chance. Refugees just die. So I keep the musket, keep checking it, keep pretending I'm still a soldier in an army rather than a man fleeing for his life. The column forms. We start walking. Same as yesterday. Same as the day before. Same as it will be tomorrow if I survive that long. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, west. Always west. Toward home, toward survival, toward hope, or toward death. We'll find out which when we get there. This is my life now. Wake up cold. Walk all day. Stop cold. Sleep cold. Repeat. No food, no warmth, no rest, no hope. Just survival. Moment by moment, hour by hour, day by day. This is what Napoleon's Grand Armée has become in Russia. November 1812. This is what glory looks like from the bottom. This is what empire feels like when it's dying. And I'm part of it. Not by choice anymore. I can't desert. There's nowhere to go. No way to survive alone. I'm trapped in this column of freezing, starving men. Trapped in this slow-motion disaster. Trapped in this nightmare that never ends. All I can do is walk and survive and hope that eventually, somehow, we reach somewhere that isn't hell. If you live through your own harsh winters, your own difficult marches, your own impossible situations, I'd be honored to hear about them. Those of you who served in Korea, or who remember the stories your fathers told about the real cold, the real hunger, the real test of endurance, your perspective matters. The comment section is yours if you want to share, because this happened. This day, these conditions, this suffering, it was real. Men lived through this, some of them anyway, and their experience, their endurance, their stubborn refusal to give up deserves to be remembered. Now I'm going to rest, and tomorrow I'll walk again, because that's what soldiers do. We keep walking until we can't. And tomorrow, I can. So tomorrow, I walk. Good night, or good morning. Whichever you need. I'll see you in the next one.